Good morning, traders. Happy Wednesday. I had to look at my calendar real quick and be like, what day is it? All right, let's zoom out and take a look at what we got today. ES and NQ are kind of hovering right around VWAP right now. The light blue VWAP is yesterday's anchored VWAP from the New York session. And then the dark blue is the overnight VWAP. So they're both kind of intersecting and hovering in that area. So this is kind of what I put together last night. My area of interest was this yellow box up here, which is kind of in line with value area high from yesterday too. So 780-ish is what I was thinking the top, like if we were gonna have shorts, that was my area of interest. I'm leaning more towards shorts, especially with last night's price action. But if we do reclaim this area, then we could see some upside. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. Right now we're sitting below yesterday's point of control and value area high and looking pretty weak in my opinion. We'll see what the market open brings us. News today. We have crude oil at 10:30. Shouldn't move things too much with NQ at least. We have Trump speaking. That's something to be aware of. He's speaking at noon. So if you're still trading at that time, be careful. And then we have FOMC meeting minutes later today. That's the big one. That's actually, I'm pretty sure that's one of those events that a lot of prop firms, you're not allowed to trade. Those big news events like that. So check your prop firm rules if they have anything like that. A lot of them are like 1 minute before, during, and then after. Probably not smart to be trading it anyway, right? Hit that like button as you guys are coming in if you haven't already. I do have a 50K TradeDay account to give away today. If we get to 100 likes, let's do it. So we're kind of coming into previous resistance. This is also a high volume node area of support. So if this holds, just a possible open scenario, I could see us maybe coming up and hitting that area of resistance that I'm talking about and then coming down from there. Or we could just dump at the open. I don't know. But kind of leaning towards shorts. We have a Fed speaker at 10 o'clock too, 30 minutes after the open. So we'll see if that affects anything. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to some of you. Depends on where you are in the world. All right, chat, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? Thinking we're going to have a bullish day or a bearish day? Up or down? What are your thoughts? I'll zoom out real quick and show you guys why I have this box as like a a big yellow box. So looking at the visible range volume profile, I turned the lines off so you can't see my box, but there it is right there. That big volume node sticking out. That's going to be a tough spot to get through. So if we come up to that area like 770, 780-ish, and we reject that area, that's why I'm leaning towards shorts. If we do have a bullish day, it's going to take some work to get through that. Kind of what I'm thinking. So that high volume node that I was showing you on the higher time frame, that's what this yellow, gold, whatever color you want to call it. It was yellow when I picked it on my settings, but I guess with the black background, like you can see, I chose yellow, but I made it a little bit transparent in the black background. It makes it look like a brownish gold color. I don't know. Sideways day until NVIDIA earnings, yeah. Could be. NVIDIA earnings are this afternoon. I don't remember what time, but I think it's like right at market open or after. We got mixed thoughts in the chat. Some people think bullish, some people think bearish. Yeah, I mean, overnight was a little bit up, like the London session, but I feel like we're kind of still chopping in this range. It's hard to say it was bullish because it was only in this tiny little area. When you look, zoom out, it's been down and it hasn't made a higher high. So for me to have it turn bullish, it would need to break above this recent high right here at like 811, which is why I would only be looking for longs if it reclaims this box right here. I guess we're about to find out, right? Yeah, the fact that we have NVIDIA earnings and FOMC minutes later, the idea of having a choppy day is a valid thesis. I could agree with that. Ulysses is asking if I backtest my trades and use those statistics. I'll be honest, I don't do hardly any backtesting anymore. I did in the beginning when I was learning. I would go through replay mode in TradingView. What I do now is more forward testing. So I think the biggest thing I do, this doesn't exactly answer your question about statistics, but it helps me with finding the best setup of the day. So I always journal the A plus setup of the day. Whether I took that trade or not, I'll look back at today's price action based on my strategy with volume profile, initial balance, liquidity sweeps, whatever it is. Like, what was the absolute A plus setup of the day? And I will journal that. And it kind of just helps to train my brain to look for that setup. But to answer your question about like back testing statistics and stuff, no, the statistics I have are just in TradeZella based on the actual trades I have taken. I don't back test because I hate it. I know this sounds terrible, but I think it messes me up patience-wise. Like, one of my biggest areas that I need to improve on is patience, like just sitting here for hours and not taking a trade. And back testing messes that up because there's so many trade opportunities. Like, you put it on 10x speed, you sit there for an hour and you find 10 trade setups. And then you get to the live market and you're like watching at a snail's pace and it's horrible. So no, I don't do a whole lot of back testing. All right, well, we're just opening straight down. Let's see if it was a little fake out. And then we move back up. Did not mean to do that. All right, here we go. Reclaiming VWAP, chopping around a little bit. Finally made it to a live stream. Welcome. Good to have you. All right, breaking below that high volume node area of support that I had. Starting to break below VWAP. Let's see if this value area low from yesterday's New York session holds. I was leaning towards shorts today, but I was hoping that it wouldn't just drop straight at the open. If this thing does stay bearish and doesn't hold any of these levels, this zone down here is kind of what I'm watching for, like 350s maybe. Still early to tell, obviously. All right, putting on our New York anchored VWAP. Well, whoever voted for a choppy day watching for FOMC and NVIDIA, maybe you guys are right. So far, this is our 15-minute range. That will obviously change. It's still early. All right, so we have, I was kind of watching for the 780s-ish to get hit. But if we're going to do a liquidity sweep, we do have London high up here. Over here on ES, this is our Asia high. ES did hit the point of control. Uh-oh, that was a nice little trap for people who were watching for shorts. Let's see if it comes up to that 780s area. Hey, Bull Barbie, welcome. How's it going? Oh, 1 minute on NQ and 5 minutes on ES. That was just because I'm a goofball and I didn't make them the same. No reason. Really, I tend to trade NQ a lot more. I've just recently started putting ES next to it, and it's helping me with a couple things. It gives me a little bit more confluence. Like if ES and NQ are coming into the same area of interest at the same time and they're both rejecting or they're both bouncing, it's just an added kind of confluence, I guess. Also, it makes me be more patient in my trades and wait for the right timing. Because, you know, sometimes, like maybe I'm looking for a bounce off of VWAP and NQ is at VWAP, but ES is not yet. So I'll wait just a little bit more for ES to hit VWAP. So that's why I've been putting them side by side, and it's helping quite a bit. Still a little bit slow with the movement so far this morning compared to the last couple days where we've had like a 180 to 200 point 15-minute range. It's been crazy the last couple weeks or the last couple days. All right, so we are starting to make a move up. Like I said before the market opened, kind of leaning towards shorts since we are below this area of resistance. But I would like to see it I'm watching these 3 lines up here. So London high, that could be a decent liquidity sweep. And then value area high obviously would be a good risk to reward. That was an interesting wick. Nice little jump down and move back up. That was a clean retest of VWAP right there on that wick. And now continuation up. No, old trader, I'm actually leaning towards shorts. So we're going to watch for a reaction at this overnight high, see if there's a liquidity grab or if it comes up to the value area high from yesterday. Just staying patient though. It's a little bit choppy. Hasn't really cleanly reacted to any levels that I have right now. I do watch time and sales, so I have it on my chart, like on my prop firm trading chart, and I have it filtered to larger orders. I have it filtered to over 30, but really I only pay attention if it's like 80 to 100 or more orders. So I pay attention to areas of interest and just kind of watch for activity there. Alrighty, making its way up. Let's see what happens at this overnight high. See if it sweeps that and starts to reject, or really I'd like to see it come a little bit higher up to like 780 before rejecting. Oh yeah, if you don't have your time and sales filtered, then you're going to miss the important ones. All those 1s and 2s flashing across the screen. Also, I think it's hard to actually pay attention to it if you don't have it filtered. Because if it's always flickering those lights, then you're not going to actually direct your attention to it when it matters. But if it's blank half the time and then all of a sudden the big orders flash, then your eyes will move towards it naturally and you're like, oh, pay attention to that, you know? So yeah, definitely filter it. How do I split this panel to display both? I think this is on the paid version. If you don't have the paid version, you won't be able to, but it's up here. Yeah, you can see it on my screen. So up here, right here, there's one. You can do side by side, you can do vertical, you can do 4. Zach, the high volume nodes, these are high volume nodes. So areas of, like on the visible range volume profile that I do for my support and resistance. The reason this one is gold is just because it's sticking out a lot more. Like I wanted to have that one pop as this is a big area of importance. So it's no different than how I got this other area. It's just bigger. Okay, so it passed through that overnight high and just kept moving. It didn't stop. ES is actually coming up to its overnight high right now. Hasn't quite grabbed it. This is kind of where I'm starting to pay attention for a possible short. Let's see if it comes up a little bit higher to like 780-ish, or if it's going to reject from here. Nope, haven't taken any trades yet. Definitely could have ridden the momentum for a long at the open, but that was not what my game plan was. All right, we're starting to break out of the top of the 15-minute opening range right now, but definitely not taking an opening range breakout trade to the upside because it's coming right into my area of resistance. So I would rather see a fake out, honestly, if it kind of comes up, grabs a little more liquidity, and then rejects and goes all the way down to the bottom of the range. That's what I want. Give it to me. Eight-cylinder. You're consistently making $400 a day, but you want to make closer to $700 a day. Question, are you trading with prop firms? If you are, then the easy answer is just copy trade. So if you have one account and you're making $400 a day, get a second account and just copy trade those exact trades to another one, and there you go, you're making $800 a day. If you're not, if you're using your own personal account, then you're going to need to increase your risk size, because you don't want to take more trades. You want to keep your trading the same and take the same trades. You're just going to have to size up. But you got to make sure you have a buffer in your account to be able to do that. So I use the ones that are on the screen. I like Lucid, I like TradeDay, Alpha Futures, and Tradeify, I think, are my top favorites. They all have different perks. TradeDay has daily payouts. Alpha Futures has no consistency rule and a 15K max payout per account. Lucid and TradeDay have really cheap options with great fair rules. It's pretty easy to get a payout, so it kind of depends on what you're looking for. No, you'd have to do more than one more contract per trade. If you're looking to go from 400 to 700, you'd almost have to double your position sizing, right? But you want to make sure that that's proper within your proper risk management still. Because you still need to have room to be able to have your red days and not blow your account. So I would say keep building that account until you have enough room that you can increase your position sizing. All right, coming up to that value area high. This is my area of interest. Let's see if we start getting a pullback. That's what I'm watching for. All right, I am in short. 760.25 is my entry. I'm going to watch and see how it goes. If this gets bearish like I'm thinking it will, we can at least target down to the bottom of the range. But if it starts to get choppy or move back up, I don't know. We'll see. I'll scale out along the way. But I could be wrong too. This thing could just go to the moon. Who knows? I'm going to give it a tad more room in case it does come up to value area high. Nope. All right. What is ES? There's our 15-minute high here. Let's see if it comes up to the top of this area before rejecting. Or it could just break through this zone too. Reasoning for this short was coming into an area of resistance. So a big area of resistance on the higher time frame. That's what this kind of gold box is. Yesterday's value area high from the New York session is a lot of times kind of a range high. And I was looking for shorts anyway. Woo! This thing's getting strong. All right, well, that's kind of the top of the zone for me. If it doesn't reject here, then I was wrong. And we could be just going straight up to the moon all day. ES is coming up to yesterday's value area high. And we're at the top of this high volume node. So let's see what happens here. If we break out above it and kind of retest and like reclaim it, I'll have to switch my plan. You think it's going to reverse? I don't know. That's what I thought earlier. And then it just busted through all the levels. We shall see. If it is going to reverse, this is the spot. Kind of at the top of the zone. It's hovering here, trying to figure out what it wants to do. This line is wrong. No signs of it rejecting. All right, so at this point, since it's breaking out above my area of resistance, I'll see it like if it spends time up here and this isn't just a liquidity grab, but next move would be to watch for a pullback spot to enter long. Let's see. $15-minute chart. Just straight up. Goodness. Yeah. Old trader, I feel ya. All right, where is this thing headed? So my thought on longs, if it breaks past this previous day high, the next area would be 25, 100-ish. Look at that 30-minute candle, you guys. Yikes. All I can do is laugh at this situation and be like, I was definitely wrong. Because this is a crazy bullish open if you look at the 15-minute candle and zoom out. And I was the one who took a short. Don't listen to me. Well, now all we can do is just hope that it pulls back a little bit and gives us some sort of entry. No pullback in sight, yeah. Ain't giving us nothing yet. What is gold doing? Gold is up too. That always trips me up. Because I know they're not exactly inversely correlated, but a lot of times they generally are. So when gold is moving up and NQ and ES are moving up, messes with me. Is it risky getting long after such a big rally up? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's risky. You definitely want to trade with the trend. But yes, I think it's not a smart idea just to jump in right now. That's why I was saying I would wait for a pullback. So the risk to reward is better. And that way you have a clear stop loss. Because at this point, the stop loss you'd be just guessing. Or it would just have to be way too big. But if it gives us some sort of clean pullback to an area of interest and then it starts to move back up, you can put your stop loss right here at that higher low. But yeah, you don't want to just enter here. At least I don't. You do you. Do what you want to do, but I don't want to. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, all I can do is laugh. I mean, it doesn't help me getting mad at the fact that I was wrong. My read on the market was wrong. I took a loss. and now I'm missing out on this giant move up. Oh well, on to the next. There's always another opportunity. That's the biggest thing that I keep reminding myself of. You guys probably hear me say it at least 3 or 4 times a week. The market's not going away. If I can't find a trade in the next couple of hours, maybe I'll find one this afternoon. Maybe I'll find one tomorrow. No rush. Do I still have my gym business? Good question. Technically, on paper, I'm still part owner of the gym, but we're in an owner financing situation, so we don't operate it anymore. We sold it to someone else. I don't use RSI. No. In my experience, a market can be overbought or oversold for a lot longer than one would expect. But I know there's people who have a profitable system using RSI, so it doesn't make it wrong. It's just not something that I use. I think it definitely, from what I have seen, it comes into handy a lot more with swing trading. So if you're trading on like the 4-hour chart or the daily chart and you're looking to hold a position for weeks or months, RSI can definitely be good. A good spot to look for entries and exits. But on the daily, like on the lower time frames, looking for day trading, I haven't found it useful or helpful. Other people do, though. There's lots of strategies out there, lots of ways to win. Find what works for you. All right, coming up to previous day high. Just like yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever it was, when I said I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife and like pick the bottom, I'm not going to immediately short this thinking that's the top, but that could be a decent liquidity grab for a scalp short. I don't think that would be the top necessarily of the day. I think it could definitely move higher, but this could be a possible liquidity grab scalp short. Or it could give us the pullback to enter long that I'm watching for. That's a good question. Where's G-Man? I'll have to send him a message in Discord later. I know he has a funky situation at work right now. They're like doing some AC duct work repair work or something like that. So he's having to switch offices. So he's not in his normal spot. It's just kind of floating up all morning. Five-minute candles are shrinking. Yeah, you can tell that momentum is slowing a little bit. You can even see it in the volume down here at the bottom of the screen. Slowly dying off. Yeah, Waffles, I took one short earlier, but that's it. Just one trade. Took a short here, thinking that it was rejecting that value area high area and coming back within the 15-minute opening range high. Did not work out according to plan. How do you get into futures from Forex and indices? Not sure exactly what your question is, but you just start looking at new charts and trading new stuff. I don't know. Honestly, a lot of the strategies would carry over depending on what your strategy is. But, you know, if you're using volume or EMAs or whatever, a lot of them are going to be the same. I was kind of watching that previous day high for a short. It didn't quite come up to it, and ES is far away from it. It's pulling back a little bit. We do have our initial balance set here in about 20 minutes, so I'll be watching for that too. See if we can take any trades off of that. All right, guys. We got 106 people watching, 64 likes. I do have an account to give away today. If we can get it up to 100, let's go. Let's go. I told you guys yesterday, I got some free accounts burning a hole in my pocket. I want to give them to you guys. So I did one yesterday. I'll do one again today. Let's get it. That'll be more fun than watching me take a loss on a trade. And watching this thing just slow grind up without a chance to enter. Come on, NASDAQ. If I tell you I'm sorry, will you come back and give me a second chance? I'm sorry I tried to short you. I didn't believe in you. I didn't believe you could get through that area of resistance, but you did. Now give me a second chance. Still hovering at that previous day high level. All right, if it comes down here, I would be watching like a hawk. That is the New York anchored VWAP right there and the bottom of this high volume node. I like that spot. If it comes down to like 24,784. What do you think, NQ? You gonna come down there? Mom voice it? You think that's gonna work better? I don't know. I was trying to go with the apology method and be nice. The mom voice didn't work yesterday. NQ didn't listen to me. Need some advice. Should I trade a 50K prop with a 5K personal account or just focus on one path? That's a good question. I guess it would depend on, like, are you a consistently profitable trader? Have you been taking profitable trades in your personal account? Have you taken a payout with a prop firm? Or are you like brand new to this whole thing, just starting trading? Give me a little bit of context and then I can maybe answer better, give you my thoughts. NQ is a crazy girl with a bit of a drug problem. Yeah. I know, it's true, but I still trade her. It's my own fault. I asked for it. I was kind of watching for a liquidity sweep in this previous day high area, but no. The slow grind up continues. Jeez. What in the world? All right, ES is coming up to previous day high also. Any sort of pullback? Maybe. Nice. So, Sam, I'll tell you my thoughts, kind of what I would do. For me, and the money that I would like to make, a $5,000 personal account is not that much. Like, I would not have very big of a position size to be able to make the money that I hope to make. So I'm a big fan of prop firms, honestly. I know there's rules that you have to follow and you have to pass an eval and blah, 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 but I'm okay with all those rules because in my opinion, they're teaching you how to be a consistent, profitable trader. And those are rules that I would want to follow in my own personal account anyway. But tangent aside, I think prop firms are an amazing opportunity for leverage. So if you're consistently profitable, trade with a prop firm account. And once you feel comfortable with that, you can start copy trading. Kind of like I was telling the last person. Like if you're making $400 a day per account and then you get 5 accounts, that's $2,000 a day. Like there's an amazing opportunity with using other people's money. And then use your payouts to fund a larger personal account. So I would like to get a personal account to closer to like $50,000. That way I can take on the position sizing that I want to match the income goals that I have. So if you want to keep your personal account, great. But I would say maybe just build that on the side and take trades and don't plan on taking money out of it until you've built it to be larger so you can take bigger position sizes. That's what I would do. We're kind of in the golden era of prop firms right now, in my opinion. So take advantage of it. OPM, other people's money. All right, so we're kind of starting to reject this previous day high and fall back below it on NQ. ES touched it cleanly and pulled back a little bit. I'm going to see how this 5-minute candle closes and see if we actually get some selling pressure. You can copy trades to 50%. Yeah, that would be if you're using a third-party copy trader. They do have options where you can you can have group A and group B and maybe only do half of your position sizing on this group or whatever. I don't use a third-party copier. I just trade like within Project X, for example, I use their in-house trade copier. So it depends on where you're copy trading. You don't get what's in it for them with the prop firms. I don't think it's any secret. There's more people that fail accounts than people who actually get payouts. So they make money off of people failing their evals and then resetting and never getting a payout. So hopefully that's not you guys. I want all of you guys to get a payout. We're going to be the small percentage that does, but that's how they make money. And then once they find a good profitable trader who's actually consistent, then they move you to a live account and they'll make money on you that way. Because they'll give you capital to trade and they take a percentage of all of your profits. Yeah, what Rocket said. 90% of people fail. Do I not think it's a long-term opportunity for traders? No, I think it is. I think right now we're kind of in a bubble where there's so many new companies coming onto the scene, which you obviously have to be careful with that. That's a whole different story. Trade with a credible firm. But because of that, they are fighting to have the best opportunity for traders. They're fighting to make the rules the most fair. They're fighting to make their challenges cost the least, like have the best customer service. I think they're fighting to get the market share. I think eventually some of the bottom people are eventually going to go away. The bottom prop firms that haven't gotten a good hold on the market. And I think there's a possibility of regulation coming. I don't think it's going to be regulation that's bad. I think it's going to be more, like FDA kind of stuff or like investment firms to be a legit investment firm. It's just going to be all of them have to have a disclaimer on the bottom or all of them have to use these rules with payouts or whatever. And I think some of the less credible companies are not going to want to pay to change their business model to match all of those regulations. So right now, I think it's just a mass influx of prop firms, and eventually the strong will survive. That's my take on it. I could be totally wrong. I don't think it's going to go away, but I think it will definitely change in the future. And right now, it's an amazing opportunity. I mean, OPM, like other people's money, if you guys haven't read about that, that's how all of my life investments have been. Investing in real estate, flipping houses, businesses, I don't use my own money. I use other people's money. And that's the way I look at prop firms. Instead of having my own capital locked into a brokerage account to trade off of, I can put that elsewhere and use someone else's money to trade. Still kind of hovering here. Not having any like increased volume or anything that's shown me I would love to short right here. We do have a duck race. Where are we at on likes? That's the plan. I was going to do a TradeDay account giveaway. I haven't looked recently. How many do we have? $79. We got this, you guys. We're close. Let's go. Yeah, Rocket, I agree. The ones that just keep you in sim and don't move you to live, they're going to fall out of business. Or the ones like, I don't know, Apex, for example, they've just been getting some bad press lately about not doing payouts. But the ones who have really strict rules and just have reasons not to give payouts, they're going to do okay. But yeah, the ones with easier rules who don't take traders live, they're going to have problems. All right, have a good one. Hey, G-Man. Someone was asking about you earlier. I think it was Grumpy. ES is definitely rejecting that area more than NQ. I wonder if NQ is going to follow. Still hovering. I wonder if the slow grind up is just going to continue. That's no fun, Kimmer. But the good thing is you have your risk in check. Live to fight another day. There's always tomorrow. Come back fresh. Yeah, Jeff, I'm kind of watching that too. That's why I haven't entered a short yet. Because I haven't really seen that liquidity grab type of action, you know? This is slowing down like crazy. Love it. We got a couple people in the chat wanting to transition to full time. It's a great goal. couple piece of advice I can say is obviously the emotions change when you're trading to pay a mortgage. So if at all possible, have a very large cushion to give yourself like 6 months of income or something ridiculous to where you don't feel the pressure of having to perform and get a payout this week, because you're going to trade like a dummy if you do that. And then also if you can have another income stream, that helps a lot too. So if you have like a side business, or you can get into like consulting a couple hours a week on the side, or be an Uber driver or whatever, I don't care. Like having some other income stream helps a lot. Depending on your age, I don't know if you're like, you know, married with kids or you're in your 20s and younger, but you could like be a bartender on the weekends. I mean, there's so many opportunities where you could work part-time side jobs to take the pressure off of trading. What's up, Jack? Made it to the live. Yeah, G-Man, I took a trade. I took a short in the midst of this massive green candle move. I'm making fun of myself for it. But coming into the market open, I was watching for this area, like value area high and the high volume node. So once it started to reject that area, I was watching for it to come back within the 15-minute opening range. So took a short, took a loss, didn't work out. And right now I'm watching this previous day high level. ES rejected it super cleanly. NQ's starting to move down. You live in Japan and the only way to generate multiple income streams is to move back to the States? Why is that? Can you not do something online? Like do some sort of consulting online, or I don't know what your background is, but there's lots of online opportunities in Japan. Can you be an Uber driver or something like that? I don't know what the regulations are with like being an employee in Japan, but there might be an online opportunity with a US company and you can just work remotely. There you go, Sam. You got the second income stream idea rolling already. Good for you. On the Lucid 50K, once you pass the $3,000 profit target, do you get a live account or do you have to make another $3,000 buffer? So you don't get a live account. Live is like you get real capital. That happens after, I think, 5 payouts, 6 payouts, something like that. But you do get to the funded stage. It's just sim funded. So after you get the test account, you upgrade to the pro account. And at that point, to get a payout, it is, I believe it's $3,000 profit target, and there's a 35% consistency. And you have to have 5 winning days of $100 or more. So once all of that criteria is met, you can request a payout. So 5 winning days of $100 or more, 35% consistency, and a minimum of, I believe it's $3,000. Check the FAQs on that one. That's the only one I'm not quite sure on. I'm pretty sure it's $3,000 though, because you can take a $1,500 payout. So if you make much less than $3,000, you're just gonna blow the account when you take your payout, because you'll leave yourself no room. Yeah, Jack, that's why I'm not taking a short here. It's not giving me what I want to see to enter. Well, Ministry Twitch, I don't know what the cost of living is in Japan, but I'm guessing it's probably significantly less than the US. So you might have a good opportunity just because your living expenses will be much less. I've had a couple people DM me about that, like when I share I got a payout or what I've made income wise. Like, man, you could move to like Thailand or, insert country here. Like, you could live anywhere on that kind of money. Yeah, I'm sure I could, but I don't know how much my kids would like that. Jack, I appreciate that. Thanks. Oh, Japan is expensive? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. There's lots of variations depending on the country you live in, which is weird because Japan is in the general vicinity of Thailand, which I know is very cheap. Hawaii? Talking about cheap places to live and you tell me Hawaii? I don't know about that. Do you know something I don't know about Hawaii? I don't think that's not on my list of cheap places to live. Platforms don't restrict people from living in certain countries. No. There are some countries that are restricted. I honestly couldn't tell you what that list is because I live in the United States and my country is not restricted. But there definitely are some that are restricted. Oh, that's your reason to trade so you can afford Hawaii. That makes sense. We were talking about inexpensive places to live, and you listed Hawaii. I was like, what? You must know something I don't know. All right. Zooming into the 1 minute, kind of starting to flag a little bit here. Where are we headed, NASDAQ? What you gonna do? Kind of looks like it might be consolidating for a move up to me. Put a little anchored VWAP at the high. See if we shift momentum and break up above there. Yeah, a failed auction, possibly. Still hasn't come back up to retest the range high, though. So yeah, this is our initial balance high up there. If this thing continues down, that was a pretty sweet liquidity grab. I mean, hindsight's 2020. I missed the entry if it drops from here, but NQ hit previous day high and rejected it. ES, like to the tick, hit previous day high and rejected. It just didn't give me, so I usually look for an increase in volume to like show momentum or sellers, and then I also watch the time and sales tape to see a lot of activity at an area of interest that I'm watching, and nothing popped up for me. Didn't give me any indication that that drop was happening. That's all right. All good. Cheap places to live, talking about Philippines and Vietnam. Yeah. My husband and I talked about living outside of the US for a while. We were looking at, so kind of the obvious one is Costa Rica, but it's gotten really popular, so it's not cheap anymore. But Nicaragua and Panama, the neighboring countries, are less popular and equally beautiful. So we actually went to Nicaragua last year to kind of do a little scouting trip. And we loved it, but for multiple reasons, we won't be doing that at least anytime soon. But yeah, it's a thought that has crossed our mind. Ah, Zach, you're in Costa Rica. Cool. Yeah, there's definitely, at least from my research, I have not been to Costa Rica and I don't live there, so I could be totally wrong. Tell me if I am, but there's definitely cheap places to live in Costa Rica. You're just giving up the luxuries, like you're not going to have a grocery store nearby and schools and all that, like neighbors, and that's kind of the stuff that we were looking for. I love the beach. I'm a beach person. I grew up in Southern California, so I wanted to be near the beach. But we have 3 kids, so we would need schools and grocery stores and all that stuff. Like, I think it would be too hard if we didn't have some of those luxuries. So then if you're looking for a beach with amenities, you're right smack dab in tourist country, and it is not cheap to live there. Yeah, Panama has easy visa rules. That was why it was on our list. Nicaragua and Panama. Costa Rica has a high happiness index. Yeah. I think it depends. If you're able to adjust to their slow lifestyle, then it can be happy. But if you're trying to live your high-strung American life and putting your expectations and timelines on them, Costa Rica can be a very stressful place. Nicaragua was the same way. You kind of just have to go with the flow. And if you're okay with that mentality, I'm sure it can be life-changing. Oh yeah, the international schools. I actually was looking into homeschooling my kids because the international schools, it was like $3,000 a month per kid, or for each kid, total kid. $1,000 per kid, so $3,000 total. I was like, dang, the whole point was to lower our cost of living. That's not going to help. So I was looking into homeschooling them. That's probably what we would do if we moved over there. All right, so we are getting that pullback. Kind of watching this New York anchored VWAP level 837-ish for a possible entry. But watching ES2 to see if we get a similar reaction over here. How do you move to those countries as an American citizen? Every country has their own visa rules, so you would have to research that particular country. Some of them require some sort of investment, like you have to open an account with some sort of minimum balance, or you have to buy a house. I mean, yeah, there's so many different rules. I wouldn't be able to tell you unless you're talking about a specific country. Or the workaround is border hopping. Sometimes it's 3 months, 6 months, like however long you're allowed to stay in the country at once. And then just go across and get a stamp and then come back in. You got to be careful with that though, because sometimes, depending on how strict they're being, they might not let you back in. So do your own research on that. Why does everybody end up in Dubai? The reasons I have seen is they have really good tax rules, like taxes on capital gains and things like that. So it's a really good country to live in if you're an investor. Like pretty much anyone who's big in crypto lives in Dubai. You guys, I'm sorry, I didn't have it on the right screen. I did end up entering short. That's one thing. Also, from what I've heard, it's just an amazing opportunity. Like there's tons of business owners and like big people out there, so the networking opportunities are huge. So I think some young people just move out there because they want to be surrounded by successful people. All right, coming down to this New York anchored VWAP at 840-ish, so I'm watching that area. Dubai is too hot and humid. Yeah. I live in Houston, Texas, so it's not anything like Dubai, obviously. Not that hot. But I'm okay with heat. Oh, you guys, 98 likes. Who wants to do a duck race later? Come on. 2 more. Let's get it. Houston's pretty dang humid too. All right, there's that New York anchor VWAP. I'm going to scale out. See if it bounces here. Yeah, Puerto Rico is another one that I've heard a lot of investors go to. Bottom of this high volume node is 785. VWAP is where? The session VWAP down here at 716. So stop loss, I usually base it off of price action. So like in this short, I originally had it up above this wick high. As soon as I got the opportunity to, I moved it to break even because I wasn't super comfortable in the trade. Take profit, I just look for areas of interest. So this is an anchored VWAP that I have, which is an area that I feel like it could bounce at. So I took off some there, but I leave some in case it's going to continue. So 784 is my next area of interest. So I'll take some off there and then leave the rest probably down towards VWAP if it hits there at 718. Yeah, G-Man, I'm with you on that. It's breaking below the New York anchored VWAP though. Could come down to the bottom of this high volume node and bounce at 785-ish. That looks like it might match up too with ES coming down to VWAP area. So watching to see what happens. Yeah, Olga, just areas of interest. My take profit strategy is I like to scale out because for me, it helps with my mental like not tilting because I feel like I can capitalize on the larger move if it happens, but I can also make sure to lock in some profits if I'm wrong. So I know there's some people out there who are just like 2-to-1 risk to reward. I'm out no matter what price action does, no matter what price is doing. 2-to-1, I'm out. I don't do well with that. I've tried that, but it definitely makes me tilt because then I feel like I'm missing out on the bigger move. And the whole spiral conversation in my head starts to come up of like, oh, I should have held it. I should have done this. All right, it's about to grab my next order. I have that one at the bottom of that support area that I have. Aw, I got a fan from England. Awesome. Thank you. Do I ever add to winning positions? I do. I actually love adding to winning positions. I would not on a move like this simply because it's just dropping and it's not like if I add right now, for example, it would just mess up my average. So I'll only add if it will not mess up my average position. So for example, if this, can I draw on this screen? I can. Sweet. So if, for example, price like pulls back and then continues lower, and I can add somewhere right here and still be able to move my stop loss and keep it at least at break even so I don't increase my risk, that would be an opportunity to add to my position. But I wouldn't do it on a runaway momentum move like this. I got a fan from Canada. I got people in Japan. What's up? All right. Final target down at VWAP, but this thing is heavy. Jeez. It might keep going. So what I'm going to do here is watch ES. ES is coming to VWAP right now. If ES breaks below VWAP, that makes me think the NQ might keep going. So in that case, I would adjust and leave a runner. Possibly down to range low. But I'm going to see what ES does. Looks like ES is dropping. See how this 5-minute candle closes. Might bounce here. You guys are awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and scale at VWAP and then leave the runner to the range low. Going to trail a little bit more though. What about price action? How can we really learn it well? The biggest advice I can give you is just lots of research. I learned everything off of YouTube videos and then practicing it by charting on TradingView and just spending hours and hours in front of the charts and listening to YouTube and kind of piecing it all together. The best way I can describe it is it's almost like putting together a puzzle. Like you're going to get one piece of the puzzle from this YouTube video. You're going to get another piece of the puzzle from something someone in a Discord said to you. And eventually you're going to have all the pieces, and then you just have to practice it on TradingView or whatever charting software you're using and put it together yourself. Like you have to make it make sense in your brain. There's an 80% chance on an IB size this big that the top will be broken first. Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I'm watching ES. It is holding VWAP. NQ is sitting right at yesterday's point of control and 15-minute opening range high. So this is a good spot for it to bounce. Bouncing off the session open VWAP. I have my light blue line is from the New York Open, and then the dark blue line is from last night's Open. I have ES bouncing off the session VWAP, but NQ hasn't reached it yet, at least on mine. But I recommend some good videos. Mine, my whole channel. No. So if you're looking for price action in particular, or market structure, or whatever you want to call it, I would say just search those keywords in YouTube. Like I would do something like learning or like futures trading price action for beginners or something like that. And then the YouTube algorithm kind of just starts to catch on to what you want to watch, and it's going to recommend more and more videos that are in line with the ones that you watch. So start watching all of those. Watch in this area. It's holding below the previous session value area high. Let's see if it comes down a little bit further. Could be an area for it to bounce. This isn't super choppy in my opinion. It depends on what time frame you're on. If you're on the 1 minute, it probably looks choppy. But that's why I like to zoom out a little bit, because on the 5-minute, that's a pretty clean downtrend to me. How much do I pay attention to fair value gaps? That's a good question. On the higher time frames, like maybe on the 1 hour, 4 hour daily, I'll pay attention to them. I don't take entries just because there's a fair value gap right there. I more look at volume profile and the difference of like high volume nodes and low volume nodes. And really it shows very similar information. So a low volume node would be where a price just moves straight through it, or it wicks in and out. And that would be the same as a fair value gap. So basically it's just showing an area with not very much volume. All right, G-Man. Another thing to watch for in terms of targets is see where point of control is. Point of control for the current session is way up there. We're actually sitting at the current session value area low, which is another reason that this could be a spot where it could bounce. I don't get the feeling that it's going to, though. I'm going to continue holding it. All right, Zach, have a great one. Thanks for dropping by. All right, grabbed my next limit order. I have the final TP all the way down at the bottom of the initial balance range. All right, Jack, thanks for coming. Have a good one. Any one YouTuber that my trading style is most similar to? Ooh, that's a good question. There's some that have some similarities, but also some major differences. So one that I can think of is Drysdale, Trader Drysdale. It's Drysdale. He uses volume profile, but he only uses session volume profile. So he looks at the previous session, which would be on the shorter time frame. He does not use the higher time frame, like 1 hour, 4 hour chart volume profile. But he uses volume profile, VWAP, and the initial balance. And I use all three of those as well. The main difference, though, is he scalps. Like his trades are, he holds them for 10 to 15 seconds and he takes like 30 trades a day. Whereas my strategy is to look and wait for the one big move and hold the trade all day if needed. So that's one example I can think of that's similar but also very different. Why am I doing a limit buy there? So I'm in this position currently, and that's just where my final take profit is. The reason for that take profit is it's the bottom of the range of the New York Open. It's the initial balance low, but basically for the New York trading hours, that's our low. Low of the session. We still need to break below VWAP though for that to actually happen. I'm going to trail my stop loss a little bit tighter, like 822. Yeah, he uses Bookmap too, I think, and he trades off of the DOM. So there's definitely some differences. How do we know or predict if VWAP would be broken? You don't know. The reason, so I used it as a profit target to scale out at. So I got in this short way up here, and that was one of my areas of interest for taking profit because that could be a spot where we possibly would bounce. I don't think it is, which is why I'm leaving some of my position on for it to run further. But that's definitely a spot where it could bounce. That's why I took off some profits to secure it in case I'm wrong. But I don't think there's a way of knowing if it's going to break or if it's going to bounce. You kind of just have to have your strategy, I guess, or your thoughts on where you think price is going to go, areas of interest. So for me, my reasoning for it, like really, it could even go below initial balance, honestly, but I don't want to be greedy. Like I think it could go a lot further. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. But I think this whole move up was kind of just a fake out and a liquidity grab because this gold zone is a big area of resistance. So now that we're back below it, I think that whole move up could have been a fake out. So my bias this morning was short. And I think it just moved up before it moved down. But my targets are down here at like the 350s. That's where I think it's actually going. Again, I don't know if it'll be today. Could be tomorrow. But I think it's coming lower. So that is the long answer to why I think VWAP was going to be broken. Also, I use ES as confluence, and ES has broken VWAP, which makes me think that NQ will as well. Have I read The Mental Game of Trading? I have read about 3/4 of it. I really like it. It's very heavy information in a good way. Like I think it almost reads like a textbook. Like I have to highlight it and take notes, and there's things that he actually like wants you to write down and activities and stuff. So it's not a quick read. It's taken me a while to get through it. But I do really like it. I think because the metaphors that he uses work with my brain. Like he's a sports psychologist who also now started working with gamblers, or not gamblers, poker players. And then he realized that trading is very similar to poker. So now he's a trading therapist too. But a lot of his metaphors are sports related. So it makes sense to me. I like the way he writes, and it's good stuff. It's not just concepts. It's like actionable items that you can take to improve your trading. Olga, I don't know any, I don't have any like 8-ball. All I can say is where I think price is going to go, but I can't say it's definitely going to happen today or tomorrow. I could be totally wrong and this thing makes an all-time high tomorrow. I don't know. I don't even know if it's likely. That's just my game plan, my plan of action and levels that I'm watching based on how I'm reading the market. I have never read One Good Trade. I don't even know if I've heard of it. I'll have to check that out. I'm always looking for good books to read. Yeah, I don't know, Olga. I don't have a percentage of likelihood or anything. My thought process though is looking at the chart. What I see is that if we're going to get through all of this resistance that we've created overhead, if we're going to break higher and actually get back to all-time highs, it needs to come lower and sweep a little bit more liquidity before it moves up. So that like 350s level, 24 350s is kind of the area that I'm watching. Again, I could be wrong. That's why risk management is key. Because I can be wrong a lot of the times and still make money. That's the cool thing about trading. Why did I enter the trade and what was the specific time frame? I typically watch the 5-minute time frame just because it makes me be more of a patient trader. But I was watching this level up here, previous day high. NQ went above it a little bit, but you can see ES rejected it exactly. So much cleaner. So once it started to reject, and it took me a while to enter because it was chopping around there a little bit. But after 3 red 5-minute candles, that's when I entered, when both of them were rejecting. Kind of just slowing down here. I know we do have Trump speaking in like 45 minutes. I think we just hit it, Waffles. I was actually making the form right now. Yeah, we made it. 101, let's go. Trading in the Zone is a good one. I also like Best Loser Wins by Hogard. That's a good one. Yeah, Olga. I don't like being in a position when Trump's talking either. He is scheduled to speak in 40 minutes at noon Eastern. And then, of course, this afternoon is the FOMC meeting minutes, which is a big one. You definitely don't want to be in a position at that time or like trying to enter at any point. And honestly, if you're trading with a prop firm, some of them don't even allow it. So check your prop firm rules. All right, you guys, I just put the Google form in the chat. Fill that out, and I'll take everyone's name off that list and do a duck race for a giveaway. Got a 50K TradeDay account that I'm going to be giving away. All right, NQ is kind of holding this VWAP area. Might look to close this thing out. Or trail my stop loss a lot tighter just so that I don't have it bounce and reverse on me. Still in it? Yeah. So I have scaled out at several spots. Just kind of holding the rest. Still think it could come down. I really think it could actually even come lower than my target, but that's good enough. So TradeDay is a prop firm, and basically the Cliff Notes version of the rules. I do actually have a video on it explaining it a little bit more, but they have an evaluation phase, that's a five-day evaluation where you have to hit a $3,000 profit target. And then once you pass the eval, you go to their funded stage and they have daily payouts. So that's one of my favorite parts about TradeDay is the daily payouts. So you don't have to worry about consistency rule and like a minimum 5 days of trading or anything like that. You make money, you take it out. But their eval is a little bit more lengthy, I guess, than most. That's the way prop firms work though. There's different levers that they pull. Like either the eval is super fast, it's a 1-day pass, and then their funded stage has more rules like with consistency and minimum trading days, or it's the other way and the eval is a little bit lengthier and then the funded stage has less rules and less handcuffs. So you got to pay to play somewhere. It's just dependent on which one you want to do, which route you got to take. If you find, so I've had people come into the chat before and they're like, which prop firm is instant funded and doesn't have a consistency rule? I'm like, if you find something like that where there's not some sort of level where you have to prove yourself, like if that prop firm comes out and they're like, it's only $50 and there's no consistency rule, run away fast. Don't give them your money because they're going to pull the plug on you and just steal your money and run. So if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Just saying. Instead of using a prop firm, why not just use your own money to trade? Because of leverage, you have the ability to use someone else's money. And I don't talk about this much, but if you're a new trader and you're still establishing your level of consistency and profitability, it sucks to put your own money into an account and potentially lose thousands of dollars. So why not practice in a prop firm account that you spent $80 on, and if you fail, then you lost $80 instead of a couple $1,000s potentially in your own account. So I think prop firms are really powerful tools to kind of bridge the gap between paper trading, where you have no emotional buy-in at all and you don't get to practice the emotions of trading, versus putting in your own money and just blowing all of it. Like, it's a good middle ground. And yeah, how many of us have $130,000 to trade our own money? That's another thing too. Like, to have enough capital to be able to trade the position sizing that I would like to. It's you need to have a big account. OPM, that's all I can say. Other people's money. They're going to let me trade it, I'll take advantage of it. Yeah, you can trade with less than $1,000, but your position sizing is going to be super small and you're not going to be able to pull that much out. So I guess it just depends on what your goals are. Like, if you're still kind of in the practice stage and you're okay with making $50 a day, $100 a day, then heck yeah, do that. All right, you guys, 2 more minutes. If you weren't listening earlier, I did put a giveaway form in the chat. Fill that out and I'll grab your guys' names and we'll do a giveaway. Hey, Hector, that's actually not bad. I mean, that sucks that you lost $4,000, but at the same time, you could also look at it as, what is that, a 6x return? 600%? Probably bad math, but you took $500 and turned it into 3,000, so good for you. Yep, duck race is coming. I put the giveaway form in the chat. One more minute, you guys. I'll do it at 11:30. Get your name in. It's already 11:30. It just now turned 11:30. Come on. Okay, let me sort these. Make sure we don't have any duplicates. Okay. Duck race, here we come. I know that's why you guys show up. It's not because I have good jokes or anything. Or not because I'm a good trader. You just want a duck race. All right. Duck race. Are you ready? On your mark. Get set. Go. Dun dun dun. Zach has his little chef hat, cooking up in the kitchen, taking a break to go race in the lake. Oh, Summer, you better pace yourself. Jimmy, Sarah, slow down, guys. Julia making a move from behind. Oh. Someone's being smart with their pacing in the back. There's going to be a duck that comes from behind at the end. You just wait for it. Oh, Waffles. You turned it on too soon. Michael making a move from the back a little bit. We got a clown duck up top. That's funny. We got the two businessman ducks down on the bottom fighting next to each other. Ben, Superman duck, let's go. Oh, 10 seconds. Is Ben gonna hold on? Oh, he's losing it. Randy coming from behind. Oh my goodness. Whoa, what a win from behind. That was exciting. Is Randy in the chat? Randy Rogers, where are you at? If you're in the chat, say something. Yeah, Rocket, I saw your duck in the back. You never made a move at all. You were just chilling in the back. Randy Rogers, are you here? Ah, okay. Cool. Hey, Randy, if you're in Discord, send me a message. If you're not in Discord, find me on Instagram. Send me a message. And I will get that TradeDay account over to you. Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's see. How's my position doing? Oh, it hasn't moved. Still there. So the reason I'm holding it is because it's well below VWAP and not showing any signs of bouncing. Like it's been 20 minutes now hovering below VWAP and buyers are not showing up. So I'm going to keep trailing and hold it down to this range low at 24,575. So the giveaway was TradeDay. TradeDay 50K end of day account. Go check them out if you guys are interested in daily payouts and not having to worry about consistency rules and 5 days minimum trading or whatever. It's kind of nice. You know, you have one of those outlier days where you're reading the market really well and you don't want to have to stop at a specific profit target because my consistency rule says I have to stop. Those daily payouts are definitely nice. Coming on down. I'll trail it a little bit more. All right, guys. It looks like this thing's just going to take its time doing whatever it's going to do. If it hits the bottom of the range or if it ends up bouncing at some point. But I don't want to sit here and watch it forever. So I'm just going to set it and forget it. If it hits my stop loss, fine. If it hits my profit target, fine. But I got stuff to get done today. Olga, what platform and broker is this? And why don't I just use TradingView? So this is Project X. The reason I don't just use TradingView is Project X doesn't link with TradingView. But even if I use like Trade-of-8 or NinjaTrader or one of the ones that do link with TradingView, you can't copy trade on TradingView. And I do copy trade. So that's why. But if you have your own personal account or you just have one account, you can connect your broker to TradingView and just take trades directly from that one screen. So that's pretty convenient. Yeah, Waffles, we just did it like 7 or 8 minutes ago. No, the prop firm is Alpha Futures. I also trade with Lucid, Tradify. I trade with a couple other ones. And I'm currently trading with Project X, but they recently decided to not support third-party firms anymore. So Project X is going to be going away in like February of 2026. So I'll be moving to Trade or Ninja Trader. That's not a big deal though. I'll still be able to take trades. All right, guys. If you're not in the Discord already, click the link in the description and join us there. And then if you are looking for a prop firm account, I would appreciate it if you guys would use my code Krista. It helps me, helps support the channel, shows me some love. Other than that, you guys, I'll be back tomorrow at the New York Open. Thanks for coming and hanging out. It was a fun one. Have a good one, you guys. Take care.